What is up, everyone? TF32 is here for round 3 of 990cc MotoGP here on Ride 5. Today we are headed over to Road Atlanta for the South African Grand Prix. That is in place because we do not have the Fakiza Freeway, unfortunately. But this is round 3, and hopefully we can find a little bit of stride and rake in some results. We're really hoping for Shinji Nakano to help bring us in the correct direction. Please disregard the leaderboard right there. The actual leaderboard is right here. As you can see, Max Biaggi leads the championship despite not having a win. But right now, it's pretty much between 4 guys for the lead, especially between Biaggi, Melandri, and Rossi. We sit in 6th, and we got 9th and 5th in the last 2 rounds. And for the team standings, we sit in 9th because Nakano has not put a single point up on the board just yet. Max Biaggi, he's raking all the points, but he just leads the team championship by 4 points ahead of 2 of the big 3 Honda teams. Repsol Honda down in 7th. So we go over to Road Atlanta, and we're going to get into the bike setup that I have. Very similar as usual. I'm just going to turn the gears up because I just do not want to have an overpowered bike. I want it to be just enough so that I can compete with them and so that I'm not easily winning. And we're now going to jump right into the live session for the qualifying and just give it a little bit of time to play out. As mentioned before in my previous video, this is the first round where all the Hondas are going to be on the same bike. So LCR Honda is going to have the 2022 Honda. So we should see some better results from Makoto Tamada and Casey Stoner as Max Biaggi sets the tone for the rest of it. Shinji Nakano right now sitting on pole position. Alex Barros quickly takes over, then Tamada, Gibernau, and that's where it's standing currently. And where is Rossi? Rossi isn't even in the top 11. Nicky Hayden up into 1st. It's currently all Hondas in the top 6, the LCR Honda of Makoto Tamada being one of them. Casey Stoner, nowhere to be seen just yet, but good qualifying from Nakano. This is what we need for the team. I cannot be the only person contributing to this team, and it's bad enough that I always start every single race from the back. Ukawa, sort of the outlier in this train, down 9th, Bayless in 8th. But yes, it would be very exciting to see bikes that are not regular back markers and bikes that are regularly supposed to be performing at the front, because as I said before, Stoner got a podium in 06, Tamada got a podium in 05. They were regularly in the top 10 for most of the races they were in. I feel like there were a few where Tamada was at the back in 05 and 06, but it should be very negligible. Checa up into 3rd last minute as we slow down for these last 30 seconds. Rossi, by the way, up into 7th. So Bayless and Ukawa pushed out of the top 10, and I can't quite see the results. But as it looks right now, Hayden is on pole position with Gibernau and Carlos Checa rounding out the entirety of the front row. And as usual, we start from the back, and we always have the best sighting of the race starts, and hopefully the best advantage point. Colin Edwards, terrible showing from him, as well as 4 out of 5 of us Americans, Roberts, Hopkins, and Colin Edwards, down below me. And I'm only below them because I never went for qualifying. But we will see this starting grid in depth coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned.
Are you ready, Boots?
Welcome to the TF32 commentary box. We are here live from Road Atlanta for the South Africa Grand Prix. We have rain for the first time this season on this clockwise 12-turn circuit. Nicky Hayden on pole alongside Sete Gibernau and Carlos Checa. Row 2, Marco Melandri, Makoto Tamada, and Danny Pedrosa. It's a trio of Hondas. Row 3, 5-time world champion Valentino Rossi, Alex Barros, and Shinny Nakano. Row 4, Troy Bayliss, Toru Ukawa, and Tony Elias. Row 5, Loris Capirossi, Casey Stoner, and Max Biaggi. Row 6, Christopher Mullen, Kenny Roberts Jr., and John Hopkins. And rounding out the back, we have Colin Edwards and yours truly. So being that this is a wet race, everyone's going to have to take a little bit of caution going through each and every turn. It's a 13-lap race. So we come to the starting grid now from the back. Nicky Hayden heading us from pole position. The lights are red here at Road Atlanta, but saluting the South Africa flag. They are out, and away we go. Pretty standard start from Nicky Hayden as well as Sete Gibernau. But Gibernau's looking on the inside. But, oh my god, Valentino Rossi is out of the race. We're going to keep focus off of him because I actually have a new rule in place. If I catch any of the AI crashing out, they are now going to be out of the race. So you might see some AI that are traveling about. We're going to refer to them as ghosts, completely irrelevant. But Marco Melandri, no, Sete Gibernau leads the way here. We cut over to me. I'm up into the top 10 now, just behind my teammate, Shinny Nakano, who hopefully should stay in the top 10. I mean, I really hope he does, because he's been a huge letdown this entire season. And Danny Pedrosa, he's up into the top 3. He's in 3rd. That is a remarkable start from the Spaniard. And we go into this back straight here. You get a ton of speed. This is the area where the Kawasaki really has a disadvantage, very similar to that back straight at Suzuka, as we still focus on Nicky Hayden right behind Sete Gibernau. And we are on board with Pedrosa going through this final chicane right here. And also, there's a little bit of a glitch on this corner coming up. If you go over the rumble strip at the end of here, you get a penalty, but the AI don't. Go figure. That's just milestones, bugs that I'm not sure they will work out, because I think they're already looking to ride 6. But back to this race at hand. Makoto Tamada, he's up there as well, showing that it really wasn't him that was holding him back. It was the bike as a whole. And cutting back to me, we're battling Biaggi right now, trying to keep him at bay. He got by Shinny Nakano. We're looking at the back of Christopher Mullen, and oh my god, Biaggi does a cheap shot on us. He tries to solidify his way through. He does for the moment, but we are not going to be going without a fight. We want this spot back, and that was just very unfair on Biaggi's part, so we are going to fight tooth and nail to the bitter end until we get that position back. Meanwhile, it is a Honda 1, 2, 3, 4, Gibernau, Hayden, Pedrosa, Tamada. Troy Bayliss is the highest non-Honda in 5th, which is the best position that Ducati has held all season long up to this point. I mean, it's only been 2 races, but still, it's the best part. As Loris Capirossi is up there as well, he wants to get by the Yamaha of Carlos Checa. However, he has a very fast Toru Ukawa just behind him. On a Honda, mind you. He wants to join all those Hondas at the front. You can just see me still battling with Max Biaggi. And Checa really wants to get by Bayliss. He's in a Ducati sandwich with Bayliss and Capirossi, mind you. And we go to the front. Gibernau still in that lead. And Bayliss sort of forming a train. And Biaggi and I, are just forming at the very back of there. We are now riding with Biaggi through this very slow chicane here. One of the few places in the game where the AI have the advantage over me. That is a very tough chicane to nail, especially in the wet. The AI are just pin perfect around that every single time. Back with us, we're right behind Vermeulen. And even further in the distance, you can see that Ukawa is trying to make the overtake on Capirossi. He looks to do just that, slots right behind, and now his next target is to get by Checa. That's his next object, as the camera here just has a very terrible angle, so I just tend to stick to the first person every time that I go through this, because those trees just get annoyingly in the way. And Bayliss has become a victim, and now he is just getting into this huge accident, and Capirossi has an issue. They both go down, and it's going to be a double DNF for both the Ducatis here at Road Atlanta. And that just leaves the other guys in such an awkward position, and they just got an advantage. With both Ducatis out, it's now Checa up into 5th, Vermeulen in 6th, Ukawa in 7th, and we're up to P8. Meanwhile, Gibber now has this massive gap above Nicky Hayden, and he wants to break away. He wants to do what Melandri did at Japan a couple weekends ago, and my apologies for this taking so long to come out. My life has just been so busy, but this is the best race of Tamada's season so far. He's up into P4, as we already knew. Meanwhile, we're still having this battle with Biaggi, just behind Ukawa. Nakano still hanging on to a top 10, but who was right behind him? The Brazilian of Alex Barros. Just behind. He is going to want to make a move to join all of the rest of the Hondas at some point. But when will it come? That's the question. As we jump with Biaggi through this turn right here in the first person. He's going to have a massive overspeed on me on this straight. He gained so much on me because this Suzuki, this satellite Suzuki I'm on, is not that quick. Look at all this. He's gaining. He gains easily a half second on me, and he's going to look right on the inside here, trying to make this overtake. He gets very aggressive on me through the chicane, but we have to fight back. We're fighting tooth and nail. We are pushing this Kawasaki to the absolute limit. We have to be very careful to not get a penalty on this inside turn, which we do. We get that there. Biaggi, of course, he's going to try and close on me right through that front straightaway right there. Very odd to call that front straightaway because it is shorter than the entire rest of the circuit. Dimensionally is short. But we are cutting with Chris Vermeulen. Over to him, he is trying to defend against Carlos Checa. He is in 5th spot. Ukawa catching right behind, and so are Biaggi and I. We are catching. Elias now right behind Nakano. Casey Stone, not a good showing from him on the new bike, unfortunately. And Colin Edwards, his misery just continues, doesn't it? You thought his career in MotoGP was bad without a win. Well, this is going to be very disappointing to Texas Tornado fans. As we cut back to the front briefly, now coming back here, we're going to be able to see just how bad the advantage is on this back straight. We see just in the distance there, Biaggi right behind me. He is more than definitely going to have me. And you can see he's weaving back and forth. We're trying to defend. Biaggi gets through us. We expect that. And, oh my god, we caught this live. Gibber now has just crashed, and he's out of the race. Nicky Hayden is now in the lead, and he has a little bit of a gap over Danny Pedrosa. Tamada's still close behind. So that's a free position for us. We're up in the P7. So that is one more bike we do not need to pay attention to. We get overtaken again by Biaggi, but look at this. He's going loose. He's loose. He's into the gravel, and he's out of the race. Out at turn 1. That's another one that we need not pay attention to at all. We are now comfortably in 7th place. It says 8th on the top left corner right there, but that is going to be P7 at the end of this race, thanks to Sete Gibber now being out. Back at the front, we are on board with Danny Pedrosa on this back straight. Now looking at Nicky Hayden. And it's hard to tell right now if he's gaining, but it's very clear that these three have a huge breakaway from the Suzuki of Chris Vermeulen in 4th now. And we can ignore Sete Gibber now, it's just behind. He, of course, is out of this race. And you may have noticed, since Biaggi is out, in the back, we have to worry about Alex Barros. So we'll worry about that in just a second. In fact, here he is. We are on board with him. He's just behind. And this Honda has a massive advantage. I highly underestimated just how big the advantage would be over the 2019 Honda when I replaced this. But that gap will continue to come down as we continue on these next couple of laps. As now we fast forward just a smidge. Danny Pedrosa is now quite a bit closer to his teammate. And he is gaining on this back straight here. Gaining. Slipstream is definitely helping him out here. Is he going to go for the lead in this final chicane here? No, he doesn't. Not quite close enough. Tamada still in 3rd, is just a spectator. He has the best view of this battle here between the Repsol Hondas. Are they going to wreck out because of this? Are they going to break away? You and I are just going to have to find out for ourselves, because this is very entertaining stuff right here. Pedrosa closer than ever to Nicky Hayden. And we cut back to us. Alex Barros, I told you, he was going to get by us even earlier than before. And unfortunately, he is on the faster bike, so there is just not much or anything really that we can do about it. Is now Pedrosa right behind Hayden. He's going to pick up just that little bit of slipstream. In fact, it's going to be a lot of slipstream now. He's taking advantage of that. Brings Tamar along with him, and now Pedrosa is in control of this race as we go into the final chicane. And yes, he has a convincing lead, and that is not going to change at all for the rest of the race. That's basically his ticket to heaven. Nicky Hayden is not going to have much to say. Meanwhile, we will try to keep pace with Barros. We won't be able to pass him, but we can at least try to keep pace with him. We do take a little bit of a look on the inside here and take the position back from him briefly, but Barros is going to get right back by us. And I said it once, I'll say it again, our top speed is just no match for that Honda, but we will stay very close behind and try to use him as an advantage to escape Carlos Checa and company behind. So we go through these chicanes as usual. The AI is so strong through this part, but we eventually get it right. We learn exactly what they're doing. We apply both the front and the rear brake. We get through again on Barros. So this battle is just going to keep going for a little bit, but the top speed is eventually going to get to us. And we see Casey Stoner making a little bit of ground. He's up there a little bit. He may have some spots, but we cut back to the front. And my apologies, that's Tony Elias, because we see Checa still up there. And now we're going to see just how fast Barros is going to blast by us. And if my memory serves, that's almost the end of the fight. I don't think we're fighting with anything else. But as I speak, Elias, Stoner, Hopkins, they are much closer to us. So we have to deal with them as we still try and give it a little bit of a nudge at that last turn and try to use his slipstream to our advantage. But it's just no use at this point. The battle is pretty much done. Of course, I say that now. My apologies, I recorded this probably about 3 weeks ago, so it was pretty much bound to happen as we jump on board briefly with Tony Elias, now closing in that gap to us. And I said before, this back straight, so detrimental. That fight is over because basically every time we go through that back straight, Barros gains more and more on me. And we just fall into the clutches of whoever is directly behind us. In this case, Tony Elias. We are able to gain a little bit on him because we are just better overall in the corners, but on the straights, it's just no question he's going to close in on me. Like if we were on Daytona or a big straightaway, we would probably lose just about every single race. Or if it were just one race, you kind of know the deal. But yeah, it's a scrap for 8th between Checa, Hopkins, and Stoner. And Stoner should be on for some pretty respectable points for the first time now because of this bike that he's on. Rossi right behind, but he was out of the race in the very first turn, in the very first lap, so we can pretty much ignore him. Much like Gibber he's out of this race. We now have just 2 laps to go, and we see a very clumsy AI mistake between Tony Elias and Casey Stoner. They crashed, so they're now out. And that promotes John Hopkins up to P8. So it's going to be a very lonely rest of the race. Still tagging along ever so slightly with Alex Barros. Tamada, this is going to be his best result, very first podium of the season. Hayden not really able to keep that distance to Pedrosa. So Pedrosa is going to be en route to his very first victory of the season as we start the final lap of the race. And this has been sort of a bite-and-nail race up until probably the second half, because Gibber crashed out, and there was a slight battle between the Repsol Hondas, although it was short-lived, and we benefited from some people crashing out, mainly Rossi, Biaggi, those guys, and Nakano. I forgot to mention this. he is now in a top 10 position. But not much more happens beyond that, so we're just going to cut to the very final sector in the very final lap. Pedrosa, no looking back after taking the lead. He's going to take his first win of the season here at Road Atlanta, and we are going to take a very lonely P7, even though it says 9 right there, because of all the DNFs that we had. But still, we get double points. Kyle scores his first points of the season, and unbelievably, we're only going to have 12 finishers because of all the DNFs. And my sincerest of apologies yet again, we actually finished in 8th. I was discombobulated because of all the different numbers. So Pedrosa takes his first victory of the season. Nicky Hayden and Makoto Tamada make up the podium. Following finishers, we have Carlos Checa, Toru Ukawa, Christopher Mullen, Alex Barros, myself in 8th place. John Hopkins in 9th, Shinji Nakano finishes 10th, Kenny Roberts Jr. finishes 11th, and Colin Edwards, even with all those DNFs, still manages to finish in dead last, finishing in 12th. And our non-finishers, my god, have we a ton. We have Elias, Stoner, Biaggi, Caparossi, Rossi, Melandri, Gibernau, and Troy Bayliss with that double DNF for Ducati. Horrible finish for them. Jumping over to the rider standings, Pedrosa with that win, and the fastest lap by the way, he takes a very narrow lead in the championship. So now it's become basically a 6-way battle for the lead in the championship. It's 6 guys that could win it. We fall down to P8, and unfortunately, even though we scored double points, we fall down to 9th in the team standings. So we really need to pull it together for the next round at the Qatar Grand Prix, which will be taking place at Oulton Park, just a little ways outside of Liverpool, but that is where our next round is going to be. Now, because of how long this episode has taken to come out, you can expect 2 for the price of 1, so sometime next week you should expect the Qatar Grand Prix to come out. So I will see you guys at the Losail International Circuit. Take care.